Okay, so today we're going to look very quickly at Google Chrome, which hopefully is on your screen. Yeah, good. This thing that says Google Chrome. Um, there's loads of things about this. I mean, it's a great browser. It's my preferred browser. Um, but there's a load of features in here which are really useful, and a lot of features that people just don't know about. Um, I'm going to aim to get this done in 20 minutes, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. So if at any point it doesn't make any sense, just wave, or if you want to know more, just open up the chat window or click on the mute button, and then I'll explain that thing in detail. But I'll start with some of the more well-known stuff, and then I shall go on to the more cheeky stuff near the end. So, Google Chrome then. Good morning. Okay, right. So the first thing then, bookmarks. Whether it's Chrome, Explorer, Edge, or whatever you're browsing with, most things have bookmarks. In this instance, if I've got a page that I want to bookmark, I can easily do it by clicking on the star to the right of the URL. And then that puts it in the default location, which in this case is the bookmarks bar. So I click on the drop down. Here's a bunch of folders that I've previously created, or I can select other bookmarks, and then I can bookmark stuff. So if I just say, I put it in other bookmarks and done, then that's bookmarked, so I can get back to it easily. Now that's pretty basic stuff, but it's just worth knowing about it anyway. And if I want a bookmark page like this and I want to unbookmark it, I can click on that again, and I can say remove, and it'll take it away. It's useful to manage your bookmarks. And by that I mean keep things tidy, because it's easy to just keep bookmarking things that you think you'll return to and have hundreds of things listed, and then it becomes ineffective because you can't find anything. And so a great way to do that is to click on the little three dots at the side, go to bookmarks and go down to where it says Bookmark Manager. And within here are all my bookmarks. I've got my bookmarks bar, which is that bit at the top there, and there's three things there. There's a couple of emails and oh yeah, great, my email address all over a video that's going to go on YouTube. Yay! That'll test the spam filter. And the company email address and the chat system that we use to chat internally. So those are my bookmarks bar. If I go to other bookmarks, here's a bookmark that I just created, and here's a couple of folders. So a great way to manage your bookmarks is to have folders. So if I had one for products, I can right mouse click, say new folder, call it products, and then I can put bookmarks that relate to products in there, like that Chrome one. And so now that's in the products folder. It's not highly technical, but it just means that later on, if I'm surfing around and I want to find a product, I can go to my other bookmarks button here, go down to products, go to product, rather than having a huge list. So it just means you can put admin things in one place, sales things, and other things, etc., etc. So this is a really dull page. Let's get rid of that. I have to move that out of the way first. And right, okay. So yeah, so that's the bookmarks tab. What else is there to say about excuse me, about that? Yeah, you can also create a bookmark another way. It's a great feature, but I don't know if it's worth bragging about. But if you've got a URL like that, you can just click on it and drag it into the bookmarks bar at the top. That probably saves half a second. And if you don't want it there, you can right mouse click and say delete. One thing that is really worth knowing about is adding a web page to your desktop. So for example, if you wanted to have a nice quick shortcut to our web page, then what you could do is you can go up to the little control button, go to more tools, and then click on create shortcut. And then here it says, do you want to give it a name? Yeah, that'd be fine. Then I'll click on create. Now on my desktop there's a shortcut which isn't being shared, so I won't show you that because we will get to a blank screen. But it means that I can click on that and it'll go straight to this page, and it will just save me seconds. And finally, startup. This is really important in the wacky world of bookmarks. If I go to my settings and then scroll right down, startup, there's a bunch of options here that are worth knowing about. If you wanted to just start with a new page, you can select the top one. If you wanted to go to specific pages, you can select the bottom one and then put all the pages that you need to work with when you open the browser up immediately. Or what's quite popular sometimes is to have the middle one where you continue from where you left off. So you can close a bunch of windows, you can close the browser, but you can have a bunch of websites pop back up again when you open the browser, which I think looks really untidy. But the option below is quite handy, so you can put things that you want to have automatically open there. If you don't want to type the details in or you can't remember the details, you can just say use current pages, and then it will use all the ones that are currently open. So that's a handy little thing to be aware of. So let's close these boxes. Another thing you can do is you can pin pages. So for example, let's open a nice Tesla page, get a shiny car on there. That's always a good thing to have open rather than constantly seeing the same Google page. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, maybe we should pick something with a smaller page on it. If I want this to open every time I start up my browser, another way that I could do it rather than adding it to the startup is I can go to pin. Should have chosen a different page. Let me open that instead. Right, here you go, Outlook. And I can pin that, and the way you do it is you right click on the tab at the top and you say pin, and that's now pinned there. So regardless of what other pages I open or don't open, whenever I open my browser, this page will always open because it's pinned to the top. And if I decide I don't want it, I can unclick it, or I can unpin it by clicking on it and saying unpin. So those are all different ways of getting things opened quickly. It's also worth knowing about profiles in Chrome, because it makes a big difference. When you first log into Chrome, it tries to encourage you to set up a profile, and by that it just means using a Google account where you can synchronize it across all your devices. So if you've got an Android phone, or if you've got an iPhone running Chrome browser on it, or if you've got various PCs, laptops, tablets, all that sort of thing, it's a great idea to have a profile set up in your browser which synchronizes your bookmark settings, passwords if you store them, which of course you shouldn't because that's really dangerous, and other things across all those devices. And the way you do that is you click on the little fella up here, and in there you click on Add. If you log into or open up Chrome for the first time, it'll ask you to log into it anyway. And so if you've got an account, you don't need to go through this procedure. It will just create the synchronization stuff automatically. However, in addition to putting your own profile on there, there's a couple of other really useful things. If you're in a situation where you share your PC with other people, or if you've got a couple of different environments where sometimes you want to use your PC for work and other times you want to use it for home use, you can create multiple profiles. And so first of all, we've got the guest profile. So if someone's just about to place an order on Amazon or something, they say, oh, can I use your PC? You say, yeah, but you're not going into Amazon and ordering it on my account, or logging out of it and messing it all up. So what you can do is you can just log in as guest, and then they'll just get a standard browser screen. It'll work, but it'll be as if they've logged into a completely different session. It won't touch your passwords. It won't touch your accounts. Alternatively, if someone uses it on a regular basis, you can click on Add, and then you can add a person on there. And so if we create that little panda, that's what we call it. And then click on Add. I've got a whole new thing, profile. That's it. And a little panda face as well. Sweet. And then they can sign in and synchronize across their devices or whatever. And if you don't want that, you can just get rid of that by going back in and clicking on Add. No, not Add. I've already added it. Clicking on Other People cog thing, and then jolly well deleting him. Oh, it's being removed. Bye. So that's profiles. The other thing to tell you about on here is, which is closely related to that, is incognito windows. Now, an incognito window is a bit of a weird thing because it makes it sound like it's going to protect you from all sorts of stuff, but when it isn't really. If I go to incognito window from the drop down, I get a brand new sort of shady looking window there, and it doesn't protect you particularly when you're surfing the net. It doesn't stop people seeing what you're doing. What it does is it stops your entries being recorded in the history, and it stops cookies being downloaded, and it stops tracking things from happening. And so it's not like it's some sort of shady tool. It's just handy, for example, if you want to log into Amazon as a different user, or if you want to place an order and you're using a family computer and you don't want people to know that you've been ordering something, or if you want to search for something to find out information, again, that you don't want other people to know you've been searching on. I mean, it can be for perfectly innocent reasons, but it won't record anything and it won't download the cookies, and it won't use your search for Google targeted advertising. So that's the incognito window, and then you can just type in usual search things. Dolphins, and here we go. Loads of information about American football, because that's what you'd expect if you type in dolphin. So at least that won't be recorded against my search. So yay, the incognito window. Right, let's get on to the more useful stuff then. Search by selection. Let's bring up a page. Here we go. Paddy, the world learns to dive. There's loads of ways of searching, and some of these things are really worth knowing about because they can really speed up the way you work. So, for example, if I was in here and I thought, oh, I want to search about the ocean, I can just select the ocean, then right mouse click and say search, and then it will search for information about the ocean. And there's a music video there. I can search for things within the current screen without coming out of that screen. So, for example, here, if I was sort of thinking, oh, what country am I in? Then I can go up to there and I can type maps. And then rather than hitting return and it opening a different screen within a different screen to replace this current page, if I hold down Alt and press return, it opens the search results in a different window and leaves my existing window open, which you might find really useful, might never use it. So that's Alt and return. When you've got a list of results, a really good way to examine those results is to open the results in different windows. And so I can right mouse click and say open in new tab, and that's opened it there. And I can go down to another one and say right mouse click, open in new tab. And that way I can then look at all the results afterwards. But a nice easy way of doing that is to use the wheel. And all you do is you click on the wheel and it opens that in a different window, or multiple windows, because I clicked on it too hard. But then there's all the results. All these results are going to be exactly the same, so I'm going to close them all. And they're all going to make this computer go really slow because the internet connection isn't particularly fast, which is why everyone's faces have just disappeared. Anyway, so I'm going to close some windows now. Right. So yeah, if you're searching for stuff, when you get the results, you can just use the mouse wheel to click on it and it'll open it in a different window. Or you can do it of anything. So if I wanted to open this page now, I can either click on it and it'll open that page, as you'd expect. Or if I wanted to keep my search page open, I wanted to open that in a different window, I can just use the mouse wheel and it opens it there. And if you've got a sticky mouse wheel, it opens it twice. So that's opening stuff. Another thing that's quite cute on the searching thing is you can search within other websites without opening those websites. So, for example, if I wanted to search for a product on Amazon, I could open the Amazon page and then go to the search box and then search for that product. But once I've searched for things on websites at least once, then Google builds up a list of search engines that it's familiar with. And then I can do things like this. I can type in Amazon and it knows I want Amazon. But over to the right here, you can see a little writing there, press tab to search Amazon. And so now if I just press the tab key, I can search within Amazon without opening the web page. And so I can search for a Motorola telephone. And then when I hit return, it brings up the search results. Ta-da! Loads of Motorola telephones in Spanish. Ooh, that's cheap. So that's just a cute way of saving a bit of time. You just type in the website that you want to search within and then press the tab key and then search within that website. Could save you seconds. What else we got then? This is a good one. Okay, this is the tip of the day. The rest of it you may or may not use, but this one is the one, okay? So close that window and then go, I wanted that window open. Then you do Control, Shift and T for tut, 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 I accidentally closed it. Control, Shift, T reopens the previous window. And you can have various windows open and keep going back and it will open the one before that and the one before that and the one before that. And so Control, Shift, T is a really useful one. What else have we got here then? You can, if you open up, excuse me, if you open up the browser brand new, after you've closed it, you can click on the new window and then do right mouse click and say reload, and that will open up all the windows that were open on your previous use. So if I do that, yeah, I had nothing else open. No, it's not reload, it's reopen. Yeah, but reopen isn't on there because I haven't just opened it. And if I close it and open it, it'll mess up the screen sharing. So I'm not going to do that. But it's just a right click and you say reopen, and it reopens all the windows. What else have we got then? Dragging stuff around. Now, if I want to specifically look at this page, and I might want it so it's on a different desktop if I'm using multiple desktops, or a different monitor if I'm using multiple monitors, I can take that tab and just drag it away. And then I've got, I don't know how this is going to come across on the screen share, but then I will have two, excuse me, two separate browsers open. And so I could have those on different monitors if I wanted one to keep me updated on certain information and another one that I'm working on. So I can look at both of them at the same time. It's quite good if you're monitoring a situation or if you're just taking information from a page that's updating. And if I want to put it back, I can take that tab, grab it and drag it over and then stick it back in there. Boom. Let's maximise that. Now, if you're doing multiple tabs, so if I had loads of tabs open for different things, let's open the Paddy one again. If I wanted to move two of these into, excuse me, a new window, this coffee's going to be so cold. Oh, anyway, if I want to move multiple tabs, I can grab two at a time by clicking on the first one, holding down the control key, clicking on another one, and then I can click and drag and take those two tabs out of that screen. So they're now separate but together, or something like that. So, other useful things then. There's three final things. Yeah, I reckon I'm going to do this in 20 minutes that I've been allocated. Clearing browsing data. Now, this isn't something that you need to do for any dubious reasons. It's just to keep your computer a little more optimized. When you see a web page, any pictures on it that you're looking at are actually downloaded onto your PC. And so you can look at a lot of pages that you're never going to look at again and waste a lot of space on your hard drive. Or just not even about space these days, it's about the efficiency because there's a lot of files there. And then there's cookies and all kinds of other stuff. We can just get rid of all that by clicking on the little menu at the side, go to More Tools and go to Clear Browsing Data. And if I click on there, it brings up a little dialog box to explain which bits it's going to do, and you can tick and untick things. But even on this training screen, which really is just the bits we've just looked at, I can see it's less than 300 meg, but still 300 meg is quite a lot of space that's been cached for images and files and things. And so getting rid of that lot would be really useful. If I had things like passwords and form data in there, I could remove those, but I could also leave them in place just by letting it delete the first ones. And so it's a good thing to be aware of. So it's a menu, more options, and more tools, and clear browsing data. Or Control-Shift-Delete. That's a really very memorable keyboard combination. Then we have this one. This is really useful, Task Manager. Now, it doesn't sound useful, but if I open up a few things on here, go to Cloud Station and go to, oh no, that'll do. If I do, if my computer just seems to be browsing slowly, whenever a computer goes a bit weird or doesn't seem to be working quite right, as we all know, the best thing to do is to restart it because it clears the memory, and if anything's crashed in the background, that hopefully gets reset, and then it's all nice and happy afterwards. And of course, the browser itself is very much like that. If it starts to run slowly, it might just be because there's a really slow web page there, or because something on the web page is crashed, or you might have a web page that's playing video that you're not even aware is running in the background. So one thing you can do is Control and, no, it's not Control, it's Shift and Escape. And what Shift and Escape does is it brings up the Google Chrome Task Manager. I'm going to maximize that. And here we can see basically what things are doing what and what's using what. There's a bunch of stuff there, but those first four items, and the tab, well, no, just the first four items, these are things you can't really turn off anyway, because otherwise it will just crash and go horrible. But I can look at this and I can see I've got 4 pages open, and I can see the amount of memory they're using, which is not a great deal. Oh, didn't know that was running. But it's a good way of just assessing how much memory is being used. And if there's something that looks like it's doing something wrong, you can just end it by clicking on End Process. So if I go out there and log into this, this is just a little chat system, but it just seems to be really slow sometimes. So like logging in. But once it's logged in, I might log into Outlook as well. Let's get rid of those settings. Actually, don't really want that to be on the screen. Now if I do Shift and Escape, I can assess how much memory is being used. Yes, that chat system is quite hefty. But anyway, if something's crashed, you can just close it by clicking on End Process, or you can just close it the manual way. But that's just a useful little thing to be aware of. And finally, this one I definitely can't demonstrate, but if you're ever in a situation where for some reason the internet's not working, or your Wi-Fi has gone horrible, or you just can't connect to the network, and you go into Chrome and you get that little page that says you can't connect to the internet, and there's a little dinosaur on there, and it's really annoying. Rather than getting annoyed and frustrated, once you've placed the support call, what you can do is you can click on the dinosaur and it starts a little game and it runs along jumping over things. So just a useful thing to be aware of. And like I say, I can't demonstrate it because I'll have to disconnect my internet and that wouldn't work. And that is about as much stuff as I can tell you about Chrome that is useful.